Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody? Well, not a bad day yesterday. Could have been better. The locks were 2-2. Washington stayed under, and what's my other lock? Washington stayed under, wins, and what the hell did I have? And Houston over. That was I gave that out as the free pick. They went over easily as Kansas puts up another 48. Again, this is the team Vegas is not aware of, and this is like Miami last year. So those two won. BYU was flat. That was a terrible pick because in a normal week, BYU is a good play, but after beating Baylor, they were flat, and I thought about it and said, no, they're a live dog. Oregon, I didn't know who Oregon was. They looked great against Georgia, scoring 3 points. And then they beat a Division II team. So you really had no idea. All of a sudden, Bo Nix played like that, which was really surprising. BYU didn't score much, and their defense sucked. So let's just say they were flat from that. And then the last one was the USC over. Initially, I played it at 70. It goes to 74, then goes down to 71. And now what happened in the game was Hayner, the Fresno State quarterback, gets injured in the second half. So I've lost my quarterback, just like the Pitt game. It's unbelievable. But to add insult, they missed a field goal. So I got 64. The score is 45-17, which is 62. I'm 2 points away. They miss a field goal. And then they end at the 1 yard line. First and goal at the 1. They go 4 times into the middle of the fucking line. Whoever the offensive coordinator needs to be fired. And they don't score. Well, they're too far away to really kick the field goal, unfortunately. But you can't give me a play where they score at the end and USC is up 45-17. Really gives a shit. So that was surprising. Hey, Nick. I couldn't stomach watching it. Yeah, I mean they're there. They're gonna win. We're gonna cover. But Hayner gets hurt. So again, now looking at the stats of the second quarterback, he didn't look that bad stat wise. But I got to watch the highlights of it. The play was proper. The play was good. The play should have went way over. I mean, look at Kansas. Kansas over 58, and they score 78. That's what I was expecting from this game. Where was Fresno State's offense? Kansas, it's 14 all in the first quarter, and then it's delayed for an hour. I don't know if it was rain or what. Too much of this rain delay bullshit. And then Kansas just lights them up. Again, I had a better – see, now that was a mystery. It was 62, and I locked it at 62. I loved it. Down to 56, and then the number goes down to 56. And I remember I did a 5-teamer with Alex, and we're like, why is it down to 56? And he lives in Houston. And I said, well, is there a hurricane coming or tornado or something, some weather? He says, no, it's 40% chance of rain. I said, okay, bet it. And so it dropped for 6 points for no reason, and then it climbed back up to 58. So it was a really confusing what the hell is going on in this game that the spread dropped 6 points on an over for no, I could see it going down a point. So I think Vegas just fucked up. And this is a Vegas movement. This isn't a betting movement. In other words, how much money has to be bet to get 62 down to 56. I mean, it's millions to move it a point, but to move it 6 points at once. And I watched the movements. Like if you go into, I think, scores and odds, you click on the line movements, and it was 62. Then it was like Tuesday morning, it dropped to 59. And then 2 hours later, it dropped to 56. Ended up coming up to 58, and then they get 78. So sometimes you doubt yourself when the line moves against you 6 points, but that's my point. When you're this sharp, you have to know what you're doing and not be influenced by line movements, which I am not. But it leads into gold and silver and everything else I do. I do after I study it, and then I make my decision, and then you can't get me off of it. So if you told me not to buy gold or silver, I'd say you're out of your freaking mind. But that's how I am, and that's how you have to be when you're betting football. You have to analyze the spread, analyze the game, the spread. I'd say the only mistake I made yesterday was the Wisconsin under, because they're an under team and the over under was 46.5, 47. And I said, well, they'll win 38-0. And they won 66-7, but they won because of turnovers. They didn't score a lot. They got a couple of pick sixes, and like in the Michigan game, they got a block punt for a touchdown, a punt return for a touchdown. Alabama did that with all the bullshit. I'd say the only game I really missed was Tennessee, where they were laying 47 to Akron, and Akron's a Z team, and they're an explosive team, Tennessee. It's probably the only game I missed. Hit the Iowa under, hit Oklahoma, hit Georgia. Nick was asking me, do I want Georgia or Georgia under? I go, it doesn't matter. They're both covered. They both did. I just think Georgia's getting more explosive, so I want to go. I figured 24 down to 18. This should have been a lock, versus 55. And as it turned out, South Carolina scored on like the last play of the game to ruin the shutout, which I'm sure Georgia's pissed off about. Coastal Carolina took us a while, but they did cover because it was a good line. Notre Dame under, the Houston over, the Washington State under, that was one of the locks. Tennessee, Iowa under, that was a joke. Iowa they got 4 receivers out. Then we go to the other page. Now, Clemson, I had under, but I didn't play it because I thought El Tech could score, and they're so weak. And Clemson did go over like in the fourth quarter. So I don't know if they're turning it around. New Mexico, I liked under. I didn't play it. Miami came through. Well, what the fuck's going on with Miami? He doesn't use Van Dyke properly. And that's what I was afraid of. This guy comes in and he starts fucking around with Van Dyke. They should have scored a lot more than 9 points. I think they missed 2 field goals in the game. Miami should not be losing to Texas A&M. I mean, that's ridiculous. He wants to run too much, this coach. And when you got Van Dyke, you don't run. Utah, easy winner over San Diego State. And then the USC. I'm not surprised they scored 45. I'm surprised Fresno only got 17. It's one of those, you're looking at the half and it's 21-10. You're like, huh? How did they only score 10? So that was it. Overall, a real good day, but the BYU really soured it. You just never know if they're going to be flat after the win. Now, on the contrary, Baylor should have been a good play because they had lost. And a team like Baylor off of a loss, is going to be good. UCLA, the quarterback, apparently – G mentions to me, it looks like the quarterback's playing. I should bet it over. I said, yeah, it's an over if he plays. And they got there. Over under was 60. It really didn't move, and he plays, and they win 32-31. They get a 63. South Alabama is a very good team. They're like Georgia Southern. You don't know who they are, but they're a very good team. So UCLA gets the over. Surprising, Kansas State lose to Tulane. Minnesota puts up a 49. That I lost that under. Vandy beats Northern Illinois. So now we start adjusting. Are they Z teams? Well, maybe Vandy's not a Z team. Kansas is definitely an over team. It's a option quarterback. He reminds me of Jefferson on Arkansas. Very good passer, but he can run. And right now, you look at the box score, he's thrown for 4 touchdowns, running for 3, runs for 150 yards, throws for 250. I mean, as long as he's there, Kansas is an over team because Houston's a pretty good team. I think I don't have all the scores in. Ohio State rolled, but that was an over. Toledo can score. And anyway, I'll get into that Tuesday when I do my college thing, but I like to get that. Okay, so let's look at the pros. Now, I gave you San Diego Thursday night, 24-2 as a road dog. They're 25-2 as a road dog. Can anybody explain why they didn't kick a field goal at the end of the game to get down 7 to cover 4? Anybody had 10. We had 10.5. We weren't worried, but it was the stupidest because you got to score twice anyway. And you're 4th and 7. You get lucky he hits, but if he doesn't hit, you're down 10. The game's over. If you kick the field goal, you're going for the onside kick regardless. What the fuck are you doing? Any good coach kicks the field goal there. I really worry about this San Diego coach. Has no brains, likes going for on 4th down. This is an analytics guy. He won't be around long. He's going to fuck up. He's idiot. You cannot analytic pro football. Nick, loving Cincy today, coming off a loss and with Dallas quarterback. Who's Dallas's quarterback? I hear it's Greer or Rush, but you know how much I like Greer. Gee, me too, Nicholas. Yeah, gee, you had we all had the over. We all threw up. It's one thing they get the ball to the 1. It's 1st and goal. Just to score, man. Don't run into the middle of the line. I hate that. Oh, my God. Rush is the quarterback. Okay, so, yeah, Cincinnati's very live. Somebody told me whatchamacallit was going to start, but Rush is okay. He was at Central Michigan. Since he's 7.5, well, let's go through the lines so we can figure it out. All right, let's start with Baltimore 3.5, 44. I'm leaning towards the under in that game. I can't trust Miami. Jackson stinks. Tagliabue stinks. 44, you go to 50. Yeah, that's probably a good one there. Check the page. I did post a new play today. I just did it. Cleveland 6.5 and 39.5. That's gone pretty low. See, it's hard to play the game when it's so low. If I want to go under, which in the Cleveland Jet game I do, Cleveland's going to run Chubb. Brissett's okay. The Jets, Flacco, he threw 50 times last week. Is he going to throw 50 this week? This is what you don't have. I got the Jets as a Z team, Cleveland as an E team. So you got really what you want in unders is under teams with very good. You want Georgia in an under. You want Iowa in the under. Normally Wisconsin in the under. You don't have that. This is where the pros gets very difficult. That every team is pretty much an E. W's, there's a few A's and B's, and that was it. And you had that Thursday. You had KC an A and San Diego a B. And San Diego, he throws a 99-yard interception. Are you freaking kidding? Again, bad coaching. You got the big running back at the goal line. Maybe try running him off tackle, not right into the middle of the line. Jesus Christ, these coaches. Do I got to do everything for these teams? So Cleveland, can you trust Cleveland to win? You can't trust the Jets. Again, it's probably an under, but it's so low. So the trend on the game, both teams are trendable. I think it's betting against the Jets and betting against Cleveland. Washington, Detroit. Detroit's down to 1 and 48.5. I like the dog here. How can Detroit beat anybody? I wish they'd play Georgia. I'd bet a lot on Georgia. Detroit -1 in this game. Why? Why is Detroit favored? They got a terrible coach, terrible quarterback. They have no defense. Will it go over? I don't know. What can you take out of the Philly game? Week 1, again, everybody's not in shape. Week 2, they're still not in shape, but they're getting in shape. Week 3, they'll pretty much be in shape, and when we won't say, well, the fourth quarter, everybody's tired. But if you looked at the injury list, my God, I'm going to count how many guys have pulled hamstrings from playing a whole game and not playing preseason. I had a thought about that. I'm wondering if they play a guy, they have to pay him more, and that's why they don't play these guys in the preseason. That's the only thing I can think of, because all these guys, all they care about is money, right? So they don't care if they injure the guy. They know he's going to get injured in week 1. What's the point? So I think there's a money issue that if they play the third and fourth stringers, they don't pay them that much. Where if they play the first stringer, they got to pay them as a game or something. That's what I think it's all about. It's never what it seems like. They don't care about the injuries. That's just the excuse. So here, I mean, you gotta take Washington as the dog. I mean, they beat a shitty Jacksonville team. Speaking of them, Indy 43.5. That went from 3.5 to 3, and from 45.5 to 43.5. I noticed an injury on Indy. I don't remember who it was, but I saw that watching the game yesterday, watching the Michigan State debacle. So somebody on Indy's hurt. Jacksonville, you look at the injury list on some of these teams. I don't know any of the players because they're all a bunch of linemen and, nobodies. It's just funny. Like, who's injured? So Jacksonville, they got the kid from Georgia, is very good. So they got a better defense than offense. Lawrence stinks. Indy, I wouldn't touch Indy to win this game with a 10-foot pole. I think this is an under. I think all the Lawrence games are under 43.5, 49.5. I think that's probably the only way you can play it. There is a trend on Indy. I think this is a home team series, but I can't take Indy. Jacksonville's got the defense. They don't. Perrine or Etienne look terrible. All the Clemson guys look like shit. They're worse than the Alabama guys. So Jacksonville, I'm not. I can't bet them with Lawrence, which means I got to go look at over-unders, which 43s, 49.5, you can go under there, I think. Tampa Bay, New Orleans. Tampa Bay, 2.5 and 44. That number didn't change. Well, it was 46 earlier in the week. Tampa Bay's got a injury problem with all their receivers. They're all listed as questionable. I assume they'll all play. I think one guy's got a hamstring and he's out, Godwin. But here goes Julio Jones again. I was just laughing about that one. I don't know. New Orleans owns them. I think the only way to play this game's under. I think that with all the receiver injuries and New Orleans with Winston and Tampa Bay's defense, New Orleans looks like a weak team, giving Atlanta 26 points. Again, let's say they got tired, but it's hard to take Tampa in this one, although you do get 3.5, which is tempting. New Orleans knows how to beat them. They beat them, 9-0 a couple games ago. So maybe you go under 44, but you really hate going under with Brady and a weak New Orleans defense. I think Tampa and 3.5 is I'm going to go that way as opposed, or you could go under because I think Tampa's defense, they're a very strong defense. Tampa is an A team. New Orleans is either an E or an over. We don't know yet. We'll know. I'll grade everybody after this week. Right now, it's just there's not enough to grade. It's like college. I'm still changing grade. Like Kansas went from a Z to an over. Vanderbilt looks like they're a much better team. The Z teams are the ones they score 10, 15 points and give up 35, 40. That's not what Vandy's doing. Kansas obviously is an over. Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Mexico State, yeah, they're still there. So they still are Z teams. New England, Pitt. No, Carolina and the Giants. Giants -1, 43.5. Giants go to -1, -2, 43.5. How can the Giants be favored with Jones at quarterback? I'll give you Barkley. The defense at Carolina has Mayfield, so he should keep it close. I think you got to take the dog here. Now, let me give you the trend. Carolina is 17-4 as a road dog, 13-1 the last few years, 17-4 if I go out further. So they're a very strong road dog. The Giants are nothing. Again, like the Lions, how are they favored? This is tease the dog all the way. New England, Pitt, New England lane 3. I assume there's another injury to Pitt, over under 40.5. Pitt is 7-0 as a home dog for the last 5 years. Granted, Roethlisberger's not there, but they're still going to play. Okay, J.J. Watt's out. Okay, fine. They got other lines. See, this is the pros and not college. They are replacing him with a pro linebacker, not as good as Watt. I mean, it's not next man up. That's bullshit. That's socialism talk. That means everybody's equal. They're not. J.J. Watt's an all-pro. The guy backing him up isn't. But he's still an NFL player. You feel Tomlin has an eye that he says, okay, this guy, he makes the team. This guy doesn't. Why is New England favored? Maybe Jones is playing, which is he sucks. I'd rather see Zappy out there. I don't know who the quarterback is for Pitt, Trubisky, or Pickett. It doesn't matter. Pickett's probably a little bit better, but he's soft because he sits out for the bowl game. So you know how I hate guys who sit out for bowl games. I have Pitt -4 as my line, so I don't really understand this line at all. I like the dog in the game. As far as over/under, probably an under. Pitt's just a defensive-minded team, as is New England, so I could see the game. Even though it's 40.5, 46, maybe it gets into the 20s. Could. It's not hard to get into the 20s. That's why it's hard to – you like going under 50 or over 34 in this case, but this is a Pittsburgh play. The Rams in Atlanta. The Rams laying 10, down from 10.5, and Atlanta 46.5, which is where it's been. Now, Stafford played like he was on the Lions, which is how he normally played, 3 interceptions. Is he all of a sudden going to mysteriously get better? Atlanta was pretty weak against New Orleans, so I think they will score more. Atlanta, we don't know. Are they going to actually have an offense? They never do. I don't like Mariota. I think the Rams will scheme against that. So this is what happens. The Rams didn't play anybody in the preseason and the bye, and then it looked like it, right? Now, how does a team like this adjust to a loss? You know, they're not like an Alabama or a Georgia off of a loss. This is the Rams. So I think 10's a big number. I think it's too big. I think over under 46.5. There's a small trend on LA as a home favorite, or bet against Atlanta as a road dog. I don't know here. I tend to look at this game. I can't take anybody in the NFL laying 4 unless it's Tom Brady in a big game. So here, I can't lay 4. I think it's an over game if you got to play it. I think it's the only way to play it. Seattle, San Francisco. Frisco's laying 9 and 40.5. And there's only one way to play this. Trey Lance, you bet against, like you bet against Lawrence and Tagliabue. Seattle and 15 just showed you Monday night. They're not that bad. Geno Smith's okay. They got Penny. And I think they have the kid from Michigan State today, Walker, the running back, who is very, very strong. Beat Michigan by himself with 5 touchdowns. This kid will be a good pro. This kid, I believe, probable should be playing. I know Penny will play, but he'll get out there. Good luck stopping him. Frisco, absolutely no quarterback. Trey Lance will not generate 14 points, and you get 15. You know, I just added a Seattle teaser out there. So keep that in mind. Anyway, Seattle, very strong play today. Absolutely. Seattle's not that bad, and you're betting on Coach Pete. You got to remember, why do we bet Seattle? Because of Coach Pete. Why do we bet against the Lions? They don't have a coach. Why do we bet against certain teams? Because they don't have a coach. You're betting, that's important. You bet on Bill Parcells. You bet on Bill Walsh. You bet on Chuck Noll. You can't. Yes, and John Madden. I'll give you John Madden and Tom Flores. You bet the coach. You don't bet. When a guy has a shitty coach, you don't bet on that. So Coach Pete over Shanahan. Shanahan's the biggest choke coach I've ever seen. So definitely like Seattle there. There's a strong Seattle trend. As I said, they're 23-2 as a road dog as San Diego was, and bet against Frisco as a home favorite, 11-1. That means when they're favored at home, if you were to bet the other team, you're 11-1. That's exactly what we're looking. We got a double trend here. We're not only is Seattle very comfortable as a road dog, but Frisco as a home favorite sucks. Now, yes, you got Lance. And now you don't have Russell Wilson, but you didn't have him he got hurt a couple years ago, and you didn't even have him, and they're still 23-2. So I don't mind that Geno Smith is the quarterback. He looked fine. They beat freaking Denver. Are they going to be flat and let down? Not in this game, not against Frisco. Frisco's a rival. But Trey Lance, what's he going to do? I don't understand it. He played 1 year as a freshman in Division II football, and he can run a little bit. Okay, but can he throw? I mean, Jesus Christ, these GMs are just so stupid. Cincinnati, Dallas, next place. Cincinnati's down to 7, I see, and 42. Cooper Rush, who's probably better than Prescott anyway. Cincy, after a loss, looked like a pig. Burrow threw 4 interceptions. I guarantee you he's not throwing 4 interceptions today. I agree with Nick. Cincy -1. I had them as a road dog. They're a very strong road dog when the spread was even, but now it's -7. This is the beauty of the teaser. All they got to do is win the game. You're -1. Hopefully they got a long snapper, and I hate that excuse. You've got to be a pro. That extra point got blocked, should never have gotten blocked. The second one where he misses the field goal way wide, you're a pro. If they fuck up the snap, you got to still kick the kick. I thought that was terrible last week. So I look for them to win. Although Dallas has a good defense with Micah Parsons. Hard to bet Burrow under, but the fact, if you really break the game down, you go, give me a score, you got to see Cincinnati win in 24-10. You got to see Cincy scoring a little bit on them, and you can't see Dallas scoring a lot, although Cincy's defense isn't very strong. They're not really an over. They're like a B team, but they will win the game for you, but they're not dominant. They don't have a Tampa defense or a Georgia defense. I swear to God, how can the NFL not have a Georgia defense? Unbelievable. So Cooper Rush is not bad. He's going to score some points. 42. I don't know. Dallas has the good defense. Cincy, decent defense. Joe Burrow. I think Cincy wins. All right. Houston, Denver. Denver lane 10. And 45.5, really. Russell Wilson's been there 1 game, no preseason, and you want to think he's been there for 5 years. This ain't Seattle. He's not had a chance to adapt to the team. Houston, with Mills, as we know, sucked, but they were beating Indy last week, who apparently is even worse. So I don't know what you do with it. I can't lay. How does Denver lay 10 to anybody? They're not there yet. You know, it's like last week. Oh, how did they lose to Seattle? Because they haven't played together. There's continuity and rhythm, getting used to the receivers, the offensive line, the play calling. What's their strategy? How do they rest their defense? There's a lot that goes into it more than just Russell Wilson. And it's going to take him time to figure out the relationship with the receivers and the offensive coordinator. I don't see how they lay 10. Yes, will they be upset they lost? Possibly, but it's all new. You know, figure your first date with your girlfriend and then your 10th date with the girlfriend. It's a lot different. So I don't see how you play Denver here. Over under 45.5, probably an under. Houston will not generate any offense. Mile high, it's always good for Denver at home. Again, Russell Wilson's got to get used to that. I think the only way you play the game is under, because I don't think Houston gives you points, which kind of makes you think, well, Denver -4, but it's such a weird number. They could easily be up 10. Houston could score a late touchdown and lose by 3. I've seen that, and I don't think right now LA can be a 10-point favorite. Denver can be a 10-point favorite. Let's go. Arizona and Oakland. Oakland is 5.5 at Oakland. Where the hell is it? Hello? Here it is. Oakland 5.5, 51.5. That number is not, it went up a little earlier in the week to 5.5. I got news for you. Arizona 16-1 is a road dog, and the trend in this game, weak defense. You either take Arizona in 11.5 or you go over in the game. That's the only way to play the game. You cannot take Oakland to win. Arizona, for some reason, is a very strange team. They suck at home. They cannot win at home, but on the road, they are 16-1 as a road dog, especially with Murray. Can Oakland chase them around? I don't know how strong their defense is yet. What was the score last week? Oakland, they 24-19 to San Diego. So they gave up 24 to them. They're going to give up 24 to Arizona. I just see this as an over 45 game. Carr and Adams should score on Arizona. Arizona should score in that. I think the over is the play here. Absolutely. You can take Arizona as the dog if you're in Arizona. Nick, don't play the Raiders because you can't say they're going to win. Too much firepower in Arizona, even though there's a lot of injuries. I do not like Oakland's coach. If it ain't John Madden or Flores, I don't like him. This guy, you're going to have a coach from New England who's going to do something. He's already coached McDaniels, and he sucked where he was, Houston or Tennessee or wherever. He's not going to not suck, and he doesn't have Tom Brady to make him look good. So I am not sold on McDaniels. He backstabbed Indy and said, I'll coach, and then he didn't. This is not a guy I trust or can bet on. So I do not like Oakland in this situation. It's either Arizona or the over. Green Bay, 10-42. That number really hasn't moved. A little bit on the under from 42.5 to 40. Fields, we know, he keeps looking for the Illinois and the Indiana games. And he needs a Big Ten game. Fortunately, he's got Green Bay, who's not in the Big Ten. They're an SEC team, so they're laying 10. Rodgers off of a loss. Now, last year, week 2, they got shut out by, I think, New Orleans first week, 30-0. Came back strong. I think they get pissed off. The question is, do they have enough receivers? Again, I don't understand Green Bay's management. They don't give the guy a receiver. Where he had Adams and they don't replace him. What the fuck is that? I don't know. Again, see, this is the problem. I don't know Green Bay's defense yet. If they have any type of defense, they'll shut out the Bears because you're not getting anything from Fields. And therefore, Brady and Rodgers should put up his 20. And there you go. I think possibly an under because the Bears can't score. They seem to have somewhat of a defense. But you can't really tell because Frisco played Lance, who's as bad as Wentz. It's the same guy. So Green Bay minus 10. That's a tough game. Again, I don't like these 10-point spreads. I think they're way too high this early. We don't know Green Bay's defense. We don't know their receivers. We know Aaron Rodgers, but he didn't show up last week. So we assume he's upset and he's going to show up and he'll play a good game. You got to assume Rodgers, too much pride. The Bears, no offense, maybe a decent defense. I think you go under in the game. I don't see how you can't take 16 because you're not getting any points from Fields. It almost makes you go to Green Bay minus 4, but they're so inept right now. It's just going to be a low-scoring game, I think. I think that's the only way. There is a trend on Green Bay as a home favorite, and the Bears are a weak dog. Buffalo, 47.5, down from 49. So the unders they're going under a little bit. So you got Josh Allen, who runs too much, and you got Tennessee, who Tannehill sucks. Henry, they need to give him the ball. I like their coach, Ohio State guy, Vrabel. I can't count on Tennessee to do I don't trust Buffalo at all, laying 10 against a good team. They don't show up. They beat the Jets in Miami and New England. They beat those 6. They lost at Jacksonville last year. And you lose to Jacksonville, there's a problem. All right, they beat the Rams. They beat the Rams. All right, fine. The Rams didn't show up. They didn't play their players. You can't count that game. And you got 3 interceptions from Stafford, thinking he's still on the Lions. So you've got those interceptions, which gave Buffalo a lot of the points. It's like yesterday's Wisconsin game. Yeah, they put up 60 points against New Mexico State, but you know what? 4 touchdowns were the direct thing of interceptions. So therefore, did Wisconsin really score a lot? No, they just had the ball and they ran it. When they got Ohio State, I think next week, yeah, you're going to see 7 points go up on the scoreboard from Wisconsin? I don't think so. They're not going to get the turnovers. They're going to have to drive the field. They don't have the quarterback to do it. That's the difference. Buffalo minus, I can't, being at home doesn't matter. Tennessee's going to pound Henry. I can see Tennessee scoring a little. I think 47.5 is way too high. I don't think Buffalo's going to score that much. Tennessee, I think, has a defense. Again, this is the problem. I don't know the identity of the defenses. I can't find Georgia. I can't find Iowa. I don't know who they are at this point. I think the Bears, the Niners had a good defense. Baltimore, maybe. Pittsburgh, New England, maybe. Tampa Bay, I think they're the closest to Georgia. Jacksonville, I think, is a good defense. Certainly not Arizona and not Oakland, and maybe Denver, and maybe Dallas has a good defense. Maybe the Bears a little. Tennessee, Buffalo, I don't know. Hi, Chris. Buffalo seems like the most complete team in the NFL on both sides of the ball. All they need is a quarterback, and I would agree with you. You're watching the Ram game, and, like I said, they turned it over 3 times. Allen runs way too much for me. I take Mahomes. I take Russell Wilson. I'll take Rodgers. Much better quarterbacks. They don't have a running attack. Although I thought they had Cook from Georgia, but he fumbled and now he can't get on the field. Really? So if Cook's out there, then I think that gives them a better offense. I don't know about their defense. Again, let's see what they do against Henry today. I would give Henry the ball 45 times and say, score touchdowns. So I don't know. I would tend to think Tampa's a better team when the receivers are back in action. KC looks very strong. San Diego's very strong. Let's face it, San Diego gives up a 99-yard interception return, or they win the game easily. So I think San Diego is pretty good. LA, when they get going, could be because they're in Donald, although they do have Stafford. Cincinnati needs a little bit more defense and really needs a running back. I wish they would have got Cook from Georgia to go with the LSU boys. That would have been good. But if they get Boutte, Cincinnati will be the best team in the league. Boutte is the wide receiver from LSU, and he'd go right in with Burrow and Chase, and they would be unstoppable. So I don't know. Buffalo, yeah, but you got to lay 10 against Tennessee. And they lost to Tennessee last year. I think it was a Thursday night or a Monday night or a Sunday night. And they go to Tennessee, lost. They go to Jacksonville and lost. That's the problem I have with them, Christopher, is how the hell do you lose to Jacksonville 10-6? And then you want to call them a complete team. Joe Montana and the Niners or the Bears, the 84 Bears, or Jimmy Johnson would never have lost to Jacksonville. Never, ever, ever. I mean, unless the quarterback was hurt. Well, the Bears started to lose when McMahon got hurt. But when you had McMahon healthy, Montana healthy, and Aikman and Emmett and those guys, They never fucking would lose to a Jacksonville. So I don't know. I would play the game under. I don't know. I think Tennessee runs the ball. So this is turning into a Navy game, right? They're going to run the ball, 40 times. Tannehill, I'm not sure which team he'll throw to. And then Buffalo, they score on the turnover. So if they run Henry, they won't get the turnover. If they make Buffalo go the long field, I don't see Buffalo covering here. And Monday night, Philly is 2.5 and 50.5 to Minnesota. Why is Philly favored here? Anybody? What, they beat the Lions 38-30. They give up 35 to the Lions, and you will make them favored against Minnesota. Again, is Minnesota that great? They beat Green Bay? No. But I do like Cook. I don't like Cousins. I do love Jefferson. Their defense looks strong. Let's give them some credit for beating Rodgers. So I Minnesota, I have them as a 3-point favorite in the game. No big trend here as far as teaser trend. Over under 50.5. Again, they're looking at the Lions game. 38-35. Well, that's not going to happen against Minnesota's defense, and Minnesota's going to run Cook. They're going to run the time, and I guarantee you Hurts doesn't run all over the place on Minnesota. They'll put in a spy. The Lions coaching staff is not an intelligent bunch of people. They don't know you can actually spy the quarterback with the safety and stop him from running. What the fuck are the Lions? They let him run like 15 times for 200 yards. And he couldn't, he can't pass to hit the broadside of a barn. He's not a good passer. You make him run. You blitz him. It's just what Miami's going to do to Baltimore today. They're going to put 8-9 guys on the line and say, Lamar, you got to throw to beat us. You can't throw. That's what many should do and probably will do against Hurts. Hurts is not a good quarterback. I would rather have, Greer at Dallas, even Cooper Rush, I think is a better quarterback, better thrower. So Minnesota is I really like them as a dog here. Now in my teaser plays, my overall teaser plays, the teams that are strong over like 80% the last couple of years, Minnesota, Green Bay, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, Miami, and Buffalo. What does that mean? They're like 80% overall in a teaser the last 2 and 3 years. So in 2021, let's say Minnesota was 13-3. Okay, that's 82%. That's all I'm saying there is that these teams are good in a teaser. The play against teams are the weak teams. So if you bet against them using the 6 points, Jacksonville is the worst. Cleveland, but they don't have Mayfield, so it's a little different. Baltimore, yes. Washington, Detroit, Atlanta, San Diego, the Jets, and Minnesota. So Minnesota plays close games, so you can bet them or bet against them. Leader in the clubhouse is Jacksonville, followed closely by Detroit, Atlanta, the Jets. If we notice, they're all the bad teams except for Baltimore, who was bad last year. But it's Jacksonville, it's Atlanta, the Jets, Detroit, Washington. This is what you look for. So basically, in a nutshell, in the NFL, you find the Z teams, the terrible teams, you bet against them. You find the good teams, the Tampa, Cincinnati goes to the Super Bowl, Miami, Buffalo, Green Bay, Minnesota, Kansas City had a little drop-off, San Diego had a little drop-off, but they're right there when healthy and everything's going well. They'll run in streaks, so you got to wait for the streak. Yes, teams off of a loss, very important. Teams after a big win will be flat, like my BYU yesterday. So look out for Buffalo to be flat. They had a big win against the Rams. So let's look at who lost last week that are going to be pissed off. The Rams, Cincinnati. You think the Jets will be pissed off? Does that matter? No, probably not. Boy, it's really hard. Oakland off a loss. Green Bay off a loss. They'll be pissed off. Tennessee really just blew it to the Giants. I don't know how pissed they'll get. Arizona, Dallas, maybe. And then Denver will be the other team that's pissed off of a loss. I don't know if that'll help it. Big games at one. Buffalo could be a little flat. Miami could be a little flat. They beat New England. Pittsburgh, I don't think they'll be flat. San Diego, they already played. Minnesota, they're not going to be flat. The Giants can't. They're always flat. KC, well, we already had that game. Tampa's not going to be flat. Seattle, they're not going to be flat. So that's what you take out of it. So those are the latest lines as of 11:01 Eastern Standard Time in that. The free pick I gave out was Seattle. Seattle. I gave them with the Kansas over. That was the free pick. Kansas over. It was beautiful. It was 28 at half. At the first quarter, it was 14 all, and by half, it was 42. And we're laying 50-something, which they covered in the middle of the third quarter. Kansas scores a touchdown. They go up. It's now in the 60s. You've got to see Vegas falls asleep. They use last year's stats. I'm noticing Kansas puts up a 50 on West Virginia. Now, when they put up 50 on East Tennessee State, that doesn't mean anything, but it does a little bit. But then when they put it up on West Virginia, and I'm looking at their quarterback, and I'm looking the last few games, I think they played a 60 with Texas last year. Now I'm seeing, and now here they go. Also, the Georgia Southern team, which I had against UAB. Now, UAB was pissed off. UAB, I looked at the box score, lost to Liberty and fumbled 5 fucking times. Can you believe that? Well, guess who fumbled 5 fucking times yesterday on consecutive plays in the first half? Yes, Coastal Carolina. Buffalo's beating them like 14-12 at the half. I go into the box score and you can see drives on Yahoo. And fumble. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. So I knew they'd be pissed off in the second half. And then they won by 12. We were laying 8, so it didn't really matter. But Coastal Carolina should have won by 40. They had one drive, 75-yard play, fumble. I'm assuming the guy ran it, caught the pass, ran down to the 5-yard line and fumbled. That's why I like betting defense, because they won't fumble. The offense can throw the interceptions. Why did the Rams lose? 3 interceptions. Why did Seattle lose? I don't know if they had the turnovers. But that's what generally how you lose a game is your quarterback or you got turnovers. And that's why if you bet Georgia, you don't have that problem. I love that I called the Oklahoma and the Georgia game. The Georgia game was Nick questioned me, do I take the Georgia or the under? And I go, well, the way they're playing now, they're only laying 24. I'm sorry. I predicted Rattler to have 3 interceptions. He only had 2. Basically, it should have been a shutout. They scored at the end of the game. I think I said 44-0, 48-7. I apologize for that. But that's what you look at. That's when these mysterious things happen. And then you look for the big game. So it was Oklahoma, Nebraska, big games. Oklahoma going to be flat next week? I don't think so. Fresno State, their quarterback got hurt. Fucked my over up. Gets hurt early in the third quarter. The other guy comes in, is like 9 of 10 for 80 yards, and I think he had a touchdown. But it was I hate that, right? If Hayner plays, the score goes into the 80s. How the fuck do these quarterbacks get hurt in these games? Because USC can't stop the win, and the game ends at the 1-yard line. Unbelievable. Anyway, that's what we got today. No locks today, but again, I gave you Seattle. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I added a play this morning. So I have 7 plays going. And there's another couple if you had questions on, although I tried to cover everything. If you do have questions on it. But Be careful of these 10-point favorites. LA, Denver, Green Bay, Buffalo. They will not. And then the Niners are laying 9. I guarantee you the Niners aren't going to cover that. All right, the Rams maybe are pissed. Denver, I don't know. That's because they're playing Houston. Green Bay should be pissed. Buffalo's not pissed. They might be flat. Tennessee's going to be giving them a hard time with Henry. I don't think they cover. Green Bay, maybe they cover. Green Bay and LA, maybe. Denver, no way. Frisco, no way. Buffalo, no way. It's just not good enough teams that don't play in the preseason. It's only week 2. You cannot start laying 10 points at this time. Week 5 or 6, and they really start looking good, and you see they have a real strong, like LA, they get that defense going with Aaron Donald, and Stafford gets his head out of his ass, and they start playing, then maybe. But the Rams are not a number 1 team. They shouldn't have went to the Super Bowl. If the Niners guy intercepts the ball, the game's over. So the Rams are not like this super team, right? Don't confuse them with the 91 Cowboys or the 49ers with Montana. Don't go there. They're not that type of team. Stafford will win the game at the end. I don't know what he does. He fucks around the whole game, and at the end, if they're close, then he kind of wins the game that way, but he can't get a 30-point lead and hold on. In Detroit, he would always do that. He'd come from behind, and you go, where was this the first 3 quarters? And then he pulls the game out at the end. So Rodgers, I expect a big effort from today. Bears, probably won't score if Green Bay's defense is strong enough. So there's a lot of questions open in the NFL. I like the dogs in a lot of the games. I just don't see the favorites. If Detroit is a favorite and wins, they'll never win by 7. I'll be shocked by that. Giants, New England. Now the difference, Tampa Bay, I can understand being a small favorite. They can handle it. Detroit can't. Giants can't. New England can't. What else we got? Oakland, Philly, why are they favored in this game? There's no reason. All right, everybody. Well, that's today's show. The biggest trends, again, are Pitt 7-0 is a home dog. Carolina 17-4 is a road dog. Seattle 23-2 is a road dog. Frisco 11-1 is a play against home favorite. Arizona 16-1 is a road dog. Those are the trends that I saw, and those are pretty good. I paired Seahawks with Pitt. Yeah, that's good. And that should work. Yeah, Pitt, I can't imagine Pitt losing to New England, and it's not going to be close. The other one, is probably Minnesota. Why are they the underdog? I can't understand that at all. They should not be the underdog. Be careful of these 10-point favorites. They're not, in Seattle, I love Seattle. I mean, getting 15 with Trey Lance, he won't even go 50% on his passes. All he wants to do is run. Russell Wilson couldn't run on Seattle or not. And Seattle can score. And if the Michigan State kid runs, Walker, Seattle's going to win the game by 2 touchdowns. I mean, what are you kidding me? Geno Smith isn't that bad. They got a good defense, and they got Coach Pete. That's the difference in the game. The Niners with Trey Lance is not good. It's like saying Hurts is good. He's not good. He can't throw. Hello, Tagovailoa can't throw. Lamar Jackson can't throw. They reminded me of the game yesterday. Who was I watching? Auburn, Penn State. Penn State's quarterback, boom, boom, throw it all over the place. The Auburn quarterback came out, and I thought I was watching like Jalen Hurts. He can't throw to save his life. He ran a little bit, but he didn't even have a good motion. And as soon as I saw him the first 5 plays, I said, that's it. Penn State's going to kill him. Had I known he was the quarterback. Well, guess who Auburn gets to play in a couple of weeks? Georgia. 45-0 Georgia. Georgia will shut out a quarterback like that. I don't know what Auburn's thinking, that these athletic they can run. No, I need a quarterback who throws the ball, right? I need Rising. I need Van Dyke. I don't need a guy who can run a little bit unless he's Jefferson at Arkansas. I don't need that quarterback. And then I saw there was another one. What game was that? It was terrible. I'm drawing a blank. There was another team with another running type of quarterback, and he just sucked, and they don't have a chance. I lost my train of thought there. Anyway, I'll get it back. But bet against Auburn. This quarterback sucks. I don't remember the other. I don't know. I had a train of thought, but I lost it. So again, in the pros, we're looking for good defenses. So in college, we got it. Georgia, just lock them every freaking week. Keep your eye on Haener on Fresno State, how injured he is. I didn't see the play, so I don't know what happened. Miami, they got to get that coach has to get his head out of his ass and let Van Dyke throw the ball. That should not be 17-9 to A&M. Fortunately, we covered, but it should never have been there. Utah looked good. And you got to watch these. Clemson quarterbacks, the other one that sucks. You got to be careful in like UTSA and Texas. UTSA is a very good team. I was shocked. Texas. It was like a tied game at the end of the third quarter. And then I think Texas got a turnover, and that was it. And then they won by like 20. You got to be careful going up in class. So you got a Sun Belt team playing an SEC team. App State did good against North Carolina, and they beat A&M. But you got to be careful. It's hard for them to move up, and I try to avoid those teams. Again, I want to play the weak team. So you got to be careful. I did not take UTSA against. I actually went over, but you got to be careful there because you go, oh, UTSA is a good team, but they're not. Christopher, that Miami game was so frustrating to watch, even though it covered. I'll watch the highlights. I go on YouTube, and then you get the 20-minute kind of run through. They missed 2 field goals, I see, and I don't know how A&M scored. But I don't know what the coach, he's running Miami too much. What is he doing? When you got Van Dyke, you let him throw. When you don't have a Van Dyke, then you want to run. Like Tennessee today, Henry, you got Henry, you run him. You run your player who you got. You got Van Dyke, you got to be throwing the ball. What are they thinking? I don't understand. Fresno State, the same thing. You got 21-10 at the half. You only got 10 points. USC does not have a good defense. Stanford ran up and down the field on them. What are you doing only getting 10? Or are you trying to be real sneaky and we're going to run the ball and keep it away from them? No, you got Haener. You throw the ball and you score points against them. You pressure them. So I don't really understand that shit. Utah, you keep betting Utah. Rising, they throw, and they've got their loss to Florida. How the hell did they lose to Florida? Florida barely beat South Florida, who sucked. BYU beat South Florida like 50-20. And that's how bad Florida. That quarterback sucks, Richardson. Whoever think, this guy is number 1 draft pick. Again, another. I think that was who I was going to say. Another running quarterback. The only problem is he really doesn't run. In the Kentucky game, he had 4 rushes for 6 yards, and he was like 25%. So he's terrible. So we'll keep betting against Florida. I can't wait for that Georgia game. That'll be 48-0. But Neela, how you doing? Florida looked horrible. Well, Florida's not good with Richardson. What you think of Bucks Saints today? I already gave that opinion. I don't know. I kind of think maybe Tampa 3.5 or under. I don't know. I don't know. All the receivers of Tampa are listed as questionable with hamstrings. So it's good they sat them out so they could not get hurt in the preseason and I'll get hurt in week 1. I don't know. I think Brady can win it. New Orleans' defense is very weak. Tampa's very strong defense. And Mariota, what's he going to do? They'll just spy Mariota. He can't throw. All these running quarterbacks that can't throw, I don't know what they're doing in the NFL or why they think they're a good thing to have on your team. I would never have a running like Hurts and Tagovailoa and Lawrence would never be on my team. They're terrible quarterbacks. So I don't know. I think Tampa, I think plus 3.5, I think is if they lose, it's not going to be. I don't see New Orleans 9-0 them again. But New Orleans does have their number. That's why I'm saying be careful. And that's why I'm saying if you get 3.5 or maybe under in the game. Yes, I know Brady's normally an over. And with Mariota, New Orleans won't score with Mariota. And that leaves you Brady going to have trouble. And then depending on the wide receivers. But I do, 19-3 against Dallas, but Dallas has a much better defense. I think Tampa 3.5 is probably the only way you can play it, but I don't really go play Seattle instead. That's really the strong play today. That was my teaser, San Diego and Seattle. That's what I played, and San Diego did their thing, even with the 99-yard interception. B. Dill. Hi, B. Winston is the Saints quarterback. Oh, not Mariota. Mariota's Atlanta. Yeah. Okay. He's a little bit better. Thanks for that. But he, I don't know. He'll throw a lot of interceptions. So maybe a little more scoring in the game. But Drew Brees can beat him. I don't think Winston can. But, yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, Mariota's at Atlanta. Who's Atlanta got? The Rams. Yeah, maybe that's why they want the Rams by 10. They got Mariota. He's not going to do anything. But that's it. So just running through it. Indy, Jacksonville under, Tampa Bay, New Orleans. I don't know. Very difficult because New Orleans has their number. I'm not going to bet against Brady. New England, Pitt. I like Pitt. The Jets, Cleveland. I like under. Carolina, Giants, Carolina. Miami, Baltimore, the under. Detroit, Washington, San Francisco, Seattle. LA, Atlanta, over. Houston, Denver, under. Arizona, Oakland, Arizona. Cincinnati, Dallas, Cincinnati. Green Bay, Chicago, under. Buffalo, Tennessee, no. Probably Tennessee. And Minnesota, Philly, Minnesota. Those are my thoughts today. I didn't play them all, but just a few. Can you help me with a lock in Major League Baseball today? Don, we're talking football. I don't really look at baseball now. I don't really have time or any interest in it. All I can suggest, Don, is to play the pitching. So if Verlander's pitching, play Verlander. So look for an ace. Maybe Okada at Miami, maybe McCullough at Toronto. I don't know. I'm into football right now. And I don't have a lock in football today. Maybe Seattle you can play. Even without a teaser, I would suggest. But I can't do I'm not looking at baseball. Sorry, Don. It's football season, and I've already started looking at college next week. Where's my sheet? I'm already starting week 4 at college. Here's your plays and my odds. This is the first thing I do. So I got the plays. I've got what I think the odds should be. And when they fuck up the odds, that's when we jump on them. Tennessee 10 over Florida is my line. I bet it won't be 10. I bet it'll be 3 or 4. Maybe Florida's favored. I love Tennessee there because I don't like the Florida quarterback. It's stuff like that where Vegas screws up. Oregon, Washington State. Washington State's a very good defense. I locked them under yesterday. Easy. So I blocked Washington State under 2 games in a row, and they won easily. both because I watched them play Idaho, and their defense was outstanding. Idaho couldn't even get a first down. I said, shit, this is a good under team. And so we locked under against Wisconsin, which made perfect sense, and locked under yesterday against a weak team. They covered that. And again, the over-under was 53. How do you 53 Washington State? It makes no sense. So do you not bet football, Don? Or are you just a baseball guy? But looking at this, USC plays Oregon State. That's a lock over. I'm going to play that as soon as the over-under comes out because I know it'll jump. So I'm hoping for 60-something. But Oregon State will not be pussies like Wyoming, like Fresno State was yesterday. And I don't see them knocking Chase Nolan out. But that's an over, Oregon State, USC. BYU should be pissed off they get Wyoming after getting killed by a weak Oregon team. Stanford and Washington. Stanford's got this really unusual offense where they hold the quarterback gives the ball to the running back for like 5 minutes, and they watch the safety. And if the safety just stands there, he'll sit there for 10 seconds holding the ball. I would bait him, and I would blitz the guy and then have some guy come in underneath and he's going to throw it, and my guy will be there to pick it off. It's not that hard. L-Tech, South Alabama. I like South Alabama there. Vandy in Alabama. That one they'll kill. Kansas State, Oklahoma. Kansas State always gives them problems. Any good games? A&M and Arkansas. Please let A&M be favored. Please, God, let A&M be favored, and we'll lock Arkansas. Where are the lines out for college? Nowhere yet. They're my lines, the Teaserking lines. I make my own lines because my lines are based on what I know. Right. So when I say Tennessee 10 over Florida, because that's really what they should. Tennessee's much better than Florida. But then Vegas comes out and makes their betting line, which is based on more statistics, not on me watching the teams, understanding the teams, and knowing what's going to happen, like Georgia and everything. Who does Georgia play? Georgia against Kent State. I got Georgia 35. I'm praying it's only 35. That'll be another. Well, just Kent State's got a pretty good offense, but it hasn't. They did show it up yesterday against Division II. They won like 63-0, but they played Washington and scored 20. They got 3 on Oklahoma, which actually showed me Oklahoma's defense, which made the Nebraska game gave me some insight into Oklahoma. And now Georgia's got Kent State. Poor Kent State. Who the fuck made their schedule? Washington, okay. Oklahoma and Georgia? Georgia, I got them 35. Just figure it's a shutout. So what we're hoping is we get an over-under in the 50s. It's a lock under. That's. I don't know why they're still over-undering Georgia in the 50s. Yesterday was 55. What the fuck? Who is making the Georgia line? Because they never go over because their defense just shuts you out. And they get a 40-0 lead, and they sit on it, and that's it. They don't try to get to 60. It's unbelievable. Let's see. UCLA's got Colorado. They should kill them. North Carolina, Notre Dame. North Carolina, no defense, but Notre Dame's got no offense. So there's a few good games. James Madison, keep your eye on James Madison. They're apparently a very, very strong team, but they've been Division II. Now they moved to Division I. They're blowing everybody out in Division I. And they got App State next week. And App State I have as a 7-point favorite over James Madison. As strong as App State is, James Madison's a very strong team. Bonilla, there you go, Professor. Well, I always do that. I'll do the pros too. It's the only way to do it. Here's my pros for today, okay? Now we'll look at the difference. I had KC 4. That was the line. Indy 3, that's the line. I have Tampa Bay 7, they're 2.5. I have Pitt -4. New England's -3. I got Cleveland -4. They're 6. I have the Giants -3. They're 1. I got Baltimore -4. They're 3.5. I get Detroit -3. Not that I think Detroit's better. It's just they're home against Washington. They're -1. I had Frisco -4. They're -9 with Trey Lance. How can that be? I have the Rams -7. They're 10. I had Denver -6. They're 10. Oakland -3. They're 5.5. Cincinnati -3, they're 7. Green Bay -7, they're 10. Buffalo -7, they're 10. And Minnesota -3, they're getting 2.5. So once you see that and you make the real line, now this is the bullshit noise. I'm picking the real game. They're trying to make the betting even. At least that's what they used to do. So to get the betting even, I need as much. So Minnesota, Philly, I need as much on Minnie as Philly. So if I get $1 million on both teams, I make whatever the juice is. Let's say it's 12-10 now. Who the fuck knows? We only do teasers. So let's say it's normally it'd be 11-10. I make 100,000 on the game with no risk. That's what a bookie is supposed to do. You make the line even to get even betting. Now, what I do is take advantage of the bad lines, like the Georgia game yesterday and the Oklahoma game yesterday. When you got the wrong team favorite or by so many points, that's not correct. That's what I take advantage of, because that's what I do is I understand the team and I rank the team. In the pros, I'm having trouble ranking. Like I can rank Georgia as an A team with that defense all day. We're just going to make a fortune on Georgia. Here, I don't. What am I going to do with Washington, Detroit? They both suck. I can't. Detroit gives up 38 to Philly and can't stop Jalen Hurts from running. What is that? That's bad coaching. Terrible defense. No spy. It tells me a team that's unorganized. How the fuck can they be favored over anybody? And I'm talking. I would take Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State against them. I mean, you got to be kidding. This team is incredibly stupid. They hire coaches with no experience. Who the fuck runs a company like that? Could you imagine we're running a restaurant we hire a cook with no experience? Well, Gordon Ramsay would kill us, but you got to have a guy come in who, I'm a handicapper and an economist. If somebody's going to hire, if Vegas wants me, I can give you 40 years of handicapping experience. I've never done it before, but I'll learn on the job. I mean, how many times do you hear that? Well, Trey Lance isn't any good, but he'll learn on the job. No, this is the pros. You don't learn on the job. You learn in college, and then you come to the pros. He sucks. I mean, he won't complete 50% of his passes. Anyway, so that's what I look for. Coach Pete, Seattle beats Denver. Nobody thought he could. That makes me very live on Frisco today. Miami, Baltimore, we've seen that show, the Lamar Jackson incompletion show. And Miami blitzed them to death, and he couldn't. I think they shut him out last year. Well, what do you think they're going to do this year? Different coach, but I think they still do it. Hey, Alex, how are you? We doing our 5-team pro teaser? We got killed with BY freaking U yesterday. And then USC, Fresno State was at the goal line, first and goal at the 1, and couldn't score a touchdown. Could you believe that? God, that pissed me off. But Hayner got hurt anyway. So anyway, let me know whatever you want to do. Okay, just email it to me. So, me and Alex, we do teasers together, and I get a percentage. So I give him the picks, and he bets it. Sends me the spot. We won last week, a 5-team teaser. So if anybody wants to do that, please feel free. I'm happy to do that. You put up the money, I give you the winners, and then we go from there. I need in on that teamer. Oh, sure. You can do that. I'll give you the games to pick, and then you got them. You signed up. You're smart enough to sign up with me, so you've got the picks. Just pick your top 5 or 6 and put them in a parlay teaser. Now, what you can do as strategy in teasers is lead the Minnesota game. So you could play Seattle, Minnesota, 2-team teaser for $5,000. Seattle wins today. Now you got mini and 9 for $5,000, but you get a little cold feet. You go, yeah, I don't want to risk the $5,000. What you do then is you take Philly, and they're laying 2.5 now. So you lay the 2.5 with Philly straight up. You can't lose because if Philly wins by more than 9, you win the Philly half of the teaser. So you win whatever you bet, maybe not $5,000, maybe 3 or 4. And if Minnesota covers the 9, you can win both. And if mini wins the game, you win the mini, you lose the Philly, and you break even. So that's why I tend to, if it's $5,000, I might bet $3,000 on Philly, because the mini and 9's a much better bet because you've already got the 6 points to it. It works better with maybe a 5-16 teaser where you're getting 8, 9, 10 to 1 odds. Then you can bet a smaller amount on the open, but you leave the Monday nighter or the Sunday nighter open. So now I know Seattle's in. Now here's mini. They play tomorrow. Now I can figure out what I want to do and bet it and trap it. It's called the trap. And then that's the beauty of the teaser. If you want to take risk away from it. I love mini and 8.5. I don't think I would take the risk, but it's a good number. If you wanted to, 2.5, it's easy for Philly to win by 3, 6, 7, 8, and you win with the mini and the 8.5, and you win with the Philly minus the 2. If you think Philly is strong enough to win. The only time I did that a few times in the 70s, the Steelers against Earl Campbell and the Oilers, and I think I had Pittsburgh even and Houston in 6 or 7, something like that. And Pittsburgh won the game like 21-20. Was Monday Night Football. Bradshaw, Swan, and those guys against Campbell, and they beat them like 21-20. And I middled the game. I had Houston in the teaser, and then I bet Pitt even, and Pitt won by 1 or 2. I do remember that one because I go, oh, I just won both ways. It sticks with you when you do that, but you can't do it on all. You got to get a good number. Like 2.5 is a good number because they can win by 3 and you get a W. You don't really want to do strange numbers because the game's got to fall there. The game can easily be won by 3. That's not a hard thing. Dan Bovada stopped it at 8.5 with mini. Yeah, well, they're 2.5. That makes sense. That's what it should be. A 6-point teaser, right? Or what are you saying here, G? Mini plus 8.5. Mini's 2.5-point dog, so 6-point teaser, 8.5. So that should be fine unless they got a different line and on your Philly. So you wanted to do a 6.5-point teaser? Is that what you're saying? That's okay. 8.5 is a good number. You want to be over 7, so you're fine. I wouldn't worry about that. At least you could get the teaser in. So you're fine. What else? So you gotta there's so many vanilla teams here. There's so many Atlanta's, Houston's, Chicago, even Tennessee, Philly, Jacksonville. There's no you can't solve the team. It's really frustrating for me because it should be a very simple thing. Normally, I'll use the numbers. Oh, they scored 24. They give up 10. They're an under team or a B team. So when in doubt, you go to the quarterback. We're betting Brady. Today we'll bet Rodgers. I'm not sold on Josh Allen. I'll bet against Hurts. I'll bet against Lawrence. I'll bet against, certain quarterbacks because they're not, Mariota, and then New Orleans with whatchamacallit on there, Winston. He'll throw 3 interceptions too. He's pretty bad. So that's all you do, and then you go slow right now in the pro. We can bet a lot on college. I had 4 locks in college last week and this week. College is much easier because you can identify the UMass and the Connecticut's, the real bad teams, and you got teams like Tennessee and Ohio State and Alabama, Georgia. They're going to blow them out. What you don't have is you don't have that in the pros. You don't have one team. You don't really have a super team. The coaching and the GM are too bad for that. They don't know how to spot players. They don't put players together. You know, too many injuries, just so many bad coaching and general managers. Take the Lions. The Lions, what do they need? Defense. Terrible defensive team. Here comes the draft. They got the 2 picks in the first round. So they get Hutchinson, who I don't know. I mean, I think it was the Jabo at Michigan who made him better because he'd come in on the other side. Then what do? Instead of taking 2 Georgia defensive players at the end of the first round, which were available, they trade up for the injured wide receiver from Alabama. Good luck. He probably will never play. He'll do a Julio Jones and have a pulled hamstring for 5 years. He's great. Yeah, but he's got a torn ACL. Why would you trade 2 draft picks for an injured guy when you could have had 2 Georgia defensive players because you got such a shitty defense? They could have got the linebacker who was the best linebacker in college last year, who made all those great tackles, and probably a cornerback, and short up your defense with Georgia guys. No, we don't want to do that. We want an Alabama wide receiver. Why the fuck do you want that? You've got wide receivers. It's not hard to get wide receivers, but your defense sucks. Hutchinson's not the answer. They need speed, right? So this is a typical terrible GM of the Lions. And what's he doing? You could have had 2 Georgia, and then you probably could have had another Georgia guy in the second round. So it made no sense to trade up to get rid of 2 Georgia players who are healthy for an Alabama guy who's got a torn. How do you draft a guy with a torn ACL? He's not going to play this year. The Lions will be 2-14, and they'll say, you know what? It's not worth. He might get injured. We don't want to. We'll play him next year. Believe me, the guy's never playing. So I don't know. It's such. These general managers are so fucking stupid. But that's okay because we understand that. We bet against it, and we make a lot of money on that. Interesting game. Clemson at Wake Forest. Ooh, Hartman against Clemson. This will be a tough matchup for Wake with all the defense on Clemson. I wonder who their quarterback's going to be. Ucla was terrible yesterday, and they replaced him. The other guys lit it up, and all of a sudden they scored. So we'll see. Michigan finally plays a guy. They play Maryland. Where's that? Did I put a line out? I don't know. I got to get used. See, each week's a puzzle, and you're trying to match the play. Wyoming, BYU. Oh, how's that game going to be? Where you had BYU, Oregon. So now Iowa's at Rutgers. Kentucky's got Northern Illinois, A&M, Arkansas. So you each week's a Rubik's Cube. You're figuring it out. That's why you rank. That's why you rank the teams. Oregon, Washington State. I don't know who Oregon is. Washington State's a good defensive team. So you're looking for that. Oh, I got 2 overs. I'm going to go over. I got 2 unders. I'm going to go under. USC, Oregon State, 2 overs. That should be a 100-point game like the Fresno State game should have been. Utah, Arizona State. Utah should it's in the desert, but I still like Utah because of Rising. Should be a good game. I'll tell you that South Alabama, they killed Central Michigan, who's explosive. Then they went out and almost beat UCLA yesterday. They're a very good small team. They got Louisiana Tech. That's a heavy over next week because Louisiana Tech's a good scoring team. Michigan State, Minnesota, Miami, Middle Tennessee. Miami should be pissed off. I would circle that game. Miami off of a loss at home against Middle Tennessee. Hopefully they'll finally let Van Dyke go and let him throw the ball 50 times like he should be. All right, well, I'll start studying college, pros. Good luck today. Again, probably these little dogs, the Pitts, the Carolinas, the Washingtons, Seattle, Arizona, Minnesota, are probably the prudent plays. The under in the Baltimore game, maybe over in the Rams, maybe over Arizona, Oakland, Green Bay, Chicago. Who the hell knows? How do you bet Rodgers under, and then how do you bet Chicago over? So it's only a 42. That's what you have. So the biggest trend, Pitt 7-0 is a home dog. Carolina 17-4 is a road dog. Seattle 23-2 is a road dog. Frisco play against is a home favorite 11-1. Arizona 16-1 is a road dog, and that's all I got there. Little trend for Green Bay at home. In Cleveland and the Jets, it's a double trend. They both the Jets suck on the road and Cleveland sucks at home. And Indy's a small trend against Jacksonville. I think that's an under game. So anyway, that's what we got. Teddy Belcher, 4K Ultra. What is that? You're welcome, B. B. Dill. Well, figure me as the teacher. I'm the professor, so I'm here to teach you so you can understand why you bet games and how you win at them. Teddy Belcher, what game tie? What is that, English? They don't play tie games. They go into overtime. Don't understand the question. All right. Okay, so I guess that's it. Unless there's any other questions, I think I've hammered all the games. I really, there's very few I trust. Certainly, I don't know about Green Bay. I don't trust Buffalo. I don't trust Denver. Maybe the Rams because of Mariota. Pitt is a home dog against New England. That's like mini Philly. I mean, why is Philly favored and why is New England favored? I mean, just ask yourself, why are they favored? Does it make any sense? And that's where they're trying to get the even betting, I guess. They're going to get mini bettors because Mini's a stronger team. They just beat Green Bay. If you're betting Philly because they beat the Lions, you're making a big mistake. And then the same thing with New England Pitt. Why would you? Pitt just beat Cincinnati. New England got killed by Miami. Why am I betting New England on the road at Pittsburgh? Because J.J. Watt's out. Like, really? Or T.J. Watt? They don't have another linebacker at Pittsburgh? Really? That's it? That's all they got? And is that really the reason you're betting them is because T.J. Watt's out? It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, Giants, how are they favored? How is Detroit favored? How is Frisco favored? In Arizona. So a lot of good games out there. And off we go. So good luck, everybody, today. Yeah, I took under Baltimore. Not a problem. That's probably the only under I got. Maybe under in Indy, Jacksonville. And then maybe the under in Houston, Denver with Mills. Oh, my God. And even Green Bay, Chicago. I think Green Bay, but they'll probably beat them. If Rodgers is on, it'll be like 27-0. How does Fields score? They should start Pickett. Well, yeah, if he would have played in the bowl game, I'd agree with you. We'll see. I think he's okay. I'd rather have Trask, the guy backing up Brady. I think he's the better quarterback out there. But yeah, Pickett, We'll see. I don't know. He was good at Pitt, and we'll see. Slovis did not play yesterday for Pitt. They had a third string quarterback in. It was really strange. He did okay. So be careful betting Pitt until you see Slovis in the game. Reynolds did play for Charlotte, and look at the difference the quarterback made. They put up 49 points with Reynolds out there. Without him, they were getting shut out by Division II teams. They lost to like William and Mary the week before. Reynolds played yesterday and they won. They put up over 40, like 49. So watch the box scores for these injured. Thompson Robinson did play for UCLA. I don't know what the fuck that was. That cost me an over because I would have bet the game over initially with South Alabama, and then he was questionable. So then I look at the box score. He played. I'm like, well, what the fuck was the big deal then? So yeah, they should start Pickett. Maybe it's a little too early. Maybe he doesn't know the playbook. Trubisky's terrible. But he did beat Cincinnati last week, so we'll see. Their defense will beat New England. New England doesn't have anything. This is the real Belichick without Brady. He's like, oops, I don't see anything. Watch the Rams. They should bounce back. They're pissed off they're embarrassed. Look for them against a weak Atlanta defense. Again, the ups happen with strong defenses. And tell me a strong defense in the NFL. I don't know. Maybe Minnie's got a good one. Maybe Buffalo, the Bears. Seattle's look pretty good. Miami, Baltimore, maybe. Carr didn't look good. Neither the Giants, neither Cleveland or the Jets. Pitt, maybe. Tampa looked good. They probably have the best defense. I would say Tampa does. San Diego will be really good with whatchamacallit now, the linebacker to go with Bosa and James, the safety. I don't know. They need an offensive coordinator. San Diego, 99-yard interception, and you got the big fullback, and you didn't run him off tackle, not up the middle. I hate when they run him right up the middle. Run him off tackle. That play always works. Or how about the Dave Casper play that he got 150 touchdowns for Oakland on the play action up the middle, and Dave Casper would be so wide open. Why doesn't anybody use that play? I mean, it only worked every time they ran it with the Raiders. So I don't know. That just blows my mind that these coaches are that stupid and this algorithms or whatever you call it. All right, everybody. Good luck today. www.teaserking.com. Punch me up. Get my email if you have a question going into the 4:00 game or the night game. We do want Minnesota tomorrow getting 8.5. Tonight's game is what? Tennessee, Buffalo. Well, I already gave you that. I would take it under. If Buffalo doesn't get the turnovers, they're not going to score. Tennessee should be running Henry 62 times because that's all they got. We'll see what happens. But you basically want to keep the ball away from Buffalo and don't want them to have turnovers. Otherwise, maybe at the 4:00, play a Seattle, Arizona teaser. If you lose on the 1:00, just be careful. We don't know the teams yet. It's still early. They've been on no preseason and a bye. They played a week. Everybody got hurt. They're still getting their win. After today, they should have a little bit more in football shape, not practice shape, and then we should start seeing who's what. But again, these quarterbacks are so bad. You got Winston, you got Mariota starting on a team. Seriously, you got Trey Lance starting, Fields, Lawrence, Tagliabue. What the hell? Who's these GMs? These are obviously at Ford. I worked at Ford, and the CEO had no automotive experience, and they made him CEO. I knew more than the CEO. I think that's what you have here is a bunch of GMs that do not know anything about football. They use these algorithms, and that's it. Gee, Arizona over. Yeah, you can go over. I like Arizona in the 11.5, but yeah, it's an over. But Arizona's 16-1 as a road dog, so why fuck around with that? Just take Arizona over, or take Arizona. that's the play. So I think we covered everything. So www.teaserking.com. Gee, you got my email. Just email me with questions. But that's about it. So it's almost 12. You got an hour to kick off. Good luck today. All right. I'll be back. Probably tomorrow we'll review college, and I am finishing up my college lines. These are next week's college games, and I really feel I did them yesterday because there's so many games, and like today I'll watch the pros, and I got to analyze those that are really. I mean, the writing it down. Look at it. I mean, it used to be on one page. I got 2 fucking pages of games now. I mean, it's insane. There's 130 games, and I'm giving up like taking away the Division II teams. I was going to do that, but there was 20 games a week, week 1, week 2, week 3, where teams were playing Division II. What the fuck is that? So I almost am like at the point where if it's a real obvious 69-0 with a weak team, I'll back it out. Otherwise, if it's a fairly normal game, I'm just leaving the number, mentally noting it. Otherwise, I think that's it. So any questions, comments? All right. That's class for today. Your homework is I want to score on the Oregon-Washington State game next week. Give me your score. So I don't want you to look at the line. I just want you to look at the game. Oregon is at Washington State. I want to score. That's your homework. That's how you have to think. Utah plays Arizona State next week. Give me a score. Then you can work on the spread, and then you can see what the real spread is, and you can go, I think the score will be this. The spread is that. Like Minnesota, Philly today. I got Minnie as a 3-point favorite, and they got Philly as a 2.5-point favorite. And I'm like, what the fuck? How do you have that? So I'm taking Minnesota because Minnesota, in my mind, is the favorite, not Philly, because they have a running quarterback and they're not playing the Lions. That's the other thing. They were at Detroit. Now they're at home against Minnie. It's not this. You can't use last week. You got to ignore it. Figure out the team and go from there. That's all you can do. Nobody does that except for us. That's why we win and everybody else loses. All right. So that's your homework. So Oregon, Washington State score. All right, everybody. Have a great day. I hope you learned. Quick note on gold. I got to do this before I leave. China is going to announce there's 2 Black Swan events coming up, which is going to make gold go like 20. I was watching my guy from England yesterday, and he says the gold 50,000 an ounce, and I think that's low because once the shit hits, it'll go higher. But the assumption is they printed all this money, and the assumption is these interest rate hikes can't work. China's going to come out and say, you know what? We don't really have 5,000 ounces, 5,000 tons of gold. We actually have 25 to 30,000 tons. And that's going to kill the dollar. They're going to come out with a digital currency backed by gold, which is going to make the U.S. dollar obsolete. There's also going to be another Black Swan event where Saudi Arabia, who's now with the BRICS countries, Russia, China, India, Brazil, is going to say, we're going to take oil in any dollar, not U.S. dollar. What's been happening is there's been a scam going on where you needed to buy U.S. dollars to buy British pounds or to buy euros or whatever it is. If you're like Russia, you got to get U.S. dollars if you want to buy oil. You can't use rubles. Well, now that's changing, and they're going to say any currency is fine, which is going to blow out the U.S. dollar, which is going to make gold go through the fucking roof. And it's been suppressed, meaning the price is not normal. So that's like, suppressed would be the Rams minus 10 is the Rams even. And you'd be like, the Rams are even? Yeah. And then everybody bets the Rams even and everybody wins. Well, that's what gold's been. Gold's been $1,800. It's really 10,000 right now. The physical coin's 10,000, but the COMEX paper is 1,800. So what's happening is gold is so undervalued. but take advantage of it. But everybody's getting pissed. Well, why isn't it higher? Gold's not good. Gold is the only real money. Believe me, gold is it's really not an investment, but because it's been suppressed, it's going to go to its natural price. So when they say it's not an investment, if it was at market, so if it's at 20,000, you're not buying it to go to 25,000. But because it's at 1,800, you're buying it knowing it's going to go to the real price of 20. That's why it's kind of an investment now, because it's been suppressed and it's going to go to its true value. So the true value is the Rams minus 10. So if you have the Rams even, it's suppressed, but now you let the spread go to normal. The Rams are minus 10. Gold at 1,800 is like the Rams even. Now you let gold go. Gold's 20,000 an ounce. That's the Rams minus 10. That's why I push it. It's the only real money. And these idiots are they're like football GMs. They keep printing the money thinking, well, we'll pay our bills by printing more money, and they make the money worthless. So buy your silver. I just bought 25 ounces at $24 Buffalo heads. It doesn't matter. You're buying an ounce of silver. You're buying an ounce of gold. Buy as much as you can, because the alternative is if you hold U.S. dollars or bucks, you're going to go to zero. Because the U.S. dollar, once this China announcement comes out and the Saudi announcement comes out, goes to zero, because nobody will want it. And once the beautiful girl turns into the fat, ugly girl 30 years from now, nobody wants her. What do I want? I want the 20-year-old hot girl. I don't want the 50-year-old, ugly girl. No offense taken. Please don't take offense, anybody. It's just an example. But that's the point. And the U.S. dollar was the pretty young girl. Now she's the old, fat, ugly girl who nobody wants. And they're coming out with the new currencies, the new young girls. And that's where it's going to be at. So that's going to go hit 20,000 an ounce, and nobody's going to want the U.S. dollar. It's going to zero. So the first point of buying gold and silver is your U.S. dollar is going to be zero. The second point is then you're going to get the kick, because it's going to go to its real value, figure 20,000. Once it starts running and it's 10 and it's going to go to 15, people are going to panic and get rid of their dollar, sell their stocks, sell their houses and cars, and buy it. And that's what's going to happen. There's a big glut on repossessed cars going on right now, where the cars people can't afford it and they're being repossessed. So now the used car market is huge, because there's a glut of inventory from people not being able to afford them because the interest rates are going up. But I don't know who takes a variable rate on a car. Houses, yes, but not on a car. Anyway, there's a huge amount of people can't pay the car payments. They're not going to pay the house payments. That's where gold's going to come in. You're going to be able to buy $1 million house with an ounce of gold, because the guy can't afford it. And the banks are going to hold it, and the banks don't want houses. They can't make money with the house. It costs money, right? They got to pay property tax on it, utilities, and the bank's losing money if he gets a house. It's not going to go up in value. It's going to go down because the interest rates, because people don't want to get paid back. If I give you 100 now, I don't want 100 in 6 months. I need 120, because the dollar you're giving me is only worth, 10 cents on the dollar, because it's inflation. So because the money is worth less, I need more. So that's why the interest rates go up on houses and cars. What the Fed's doing is not going to have any effect. This bullshit excuse of gold's down because they're raising interest rates is absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. It's like saying, Trey Lance is going to be a superstar. I mean, that's about how stupid the Fed raising interest. All it's going to do is cause depression, because they raise rates into high debt. It makes the debt more expensive. That's all it does. Gold's going to still go through the roof. It's going to go through the roof because of the inflation and what China and Russia are doing. That's why it's going to get to its normal price. Anyway, so I saw that, and I had to tell you that. So two black swan events, gold, China announcing how much gold they have. I know, but they didn't, it's not public. I just know through my sources. And then Saudi Arabia saying we're not going to be dependent on the US dollar anymore. That will kick the US dollar down the toilet. That's why you can't only, if you have money in the bank, please get it out because you will not be able to. If you don't believe me, look what happens in China where they can't get their money out. Look what happened in Greece, Sri Lanka. The banks shut down and say, you know what? It's not really your money. It's our money. You're a shareholder. You can't get it out. So do not leave money in the bank. Leave enough for a couple of months of bills, and that's it. The rest goes in the safe and in the gold and silver. And the best boot, if you need money, is sell your gold and then you get your money. But you pay $1,800 and it goes to $20,000. That's the lock of the year, right? That's an incredible lock. So do not be in Bitcoin. It's not real. It's not money. It's not gold. It's nothing. You can't go to Target with it. You can't go to the restaurant with it. And it's priced in US dollars. So when US dollars goes out, what's the price of Bitcoin? It's not itself. Gold is itself. Gold will always have value. And yes, I've taken my silver to the restaurant and I can pay with it. So yes, you can pay with silver at a restaurant. They'll be happy to take it. So that's what you got. So it's coming soon. I can't give you an exact date, but when you hear these two things happening, China announced and Saudi Arabia announced, you know the shit's hitting the fan. Buy as much gold and silver as you can. If you can't afford the 1,800 in gold, there's half ounces, and there's certainly silver, which is I just paid $23 an ounce for these Buffalo ounces. I bought 25 yesterday, and I've got quite a bit. So I always kick around a little bit, but it's just unbelievable. It's just ridiculous. And I'm looking at it like, well, that's 2,000 an ounce. So I bought 20. So I just 25 times 2,000 is 50,000, and it cost me $600. So for 600, I'm going to turn it into 50,000. I'll do that all day. So that's what you got to realize. If I need this, mini games tomorrow, Monday night, Arizona over. Yeah, we got okay. So that's really what you're looking for. It's a no-brainer. You're gonna put it into real money, gold and silver, and it's going to go up in value by a ton. And what the U.S. government, now here's what's happening. This is the fix. The U.S. government does not want you to buy gold because it's competition to the dollar. They want a monopoly where you buy U.S. dollars and you think everything's going to be just normal. It's not. And so what's going to happen is if gold goes up, nobody's in the US dollar and they're sitting on worthless paper that nobody wants. What I'm saying is get the hell out because nobody's going to want it very soon. But that's why the government is suppressing it because they want you to say, oh, gold has no, look at gold went down. It's not a good thing. That's not the real price. It's COMEX is a bunch of derivatives. They're betting without even having an ounce of gold, and they're just shooting the price down to so you're not interested in gold because nobody's taught it. I got lucky I was taught it in my master's program. That's why I'm the professor, because that's how I learned it. And so I know what's going to happen, and I know the real value of gold and silver versus the paper dollar is just trash and the gold price is not real. So the problem is people go and think that's the gold price and think the interest rates are going to knock the gold price down and Powell's going to raise interest rates. So I don't want gold because it really doesn't have a value. And that's the bullshit that they're telling you and you don't know. So you go along with the scam because you have no idea. You're not being taught it. You don't know where to go to learn it. Well, I'm teaching it to you. This is where you come to learn it. And believe me, it's at least 20,000 an ounce for a physical gold. The Chinese, so why would the Chinese have 25,000 tons? And why would Putin have 15,000 to 20,000 tons if it's stupid? It's got no value. Why would he do it? Why would he? He's a smart guy from a finance standpoint. Why would all the central banks be buying it? Why would one guy buy 500 million ounces? Why would he do that if it has no value? So if you just don't understand, if you just see what's going on, leads you to it. So that's what you got to do. So okay, thank you. I'm not sure which analogy I get carried away, but you're welcome. I find that's the best way to teach is to kind of give you an analogy of X and an analogy of Y, and then it makes sense. But anyway, that's what you got to do. So please buy gold. If you can't afford it, buy your silver. Silver, everybody can afford. It's $23 an ounce because the dollar's losing value. So it's a no-brainer. And you're not going to be able to get your money out of the bank. They're going to close the banks. Not right now, soon. So if you have 100 grand in the bank, you better, and you're not going to be able to get the 100 out. You're going to have to take 15 or 20 at a time and find the date when they get their money, go in, be the first one there, grab your 15 or 20, come back the next week and slowly get it, put it in the safe, or buy gold and silver with it. You're not going to be able to get out of the bank. Oh, the fat girl in Ellen. Well, that's kind of true. Fortunately, no offense to anybody, but yeah, I mean, that's what happens, right? You like the pretty girl, you're attracted to her, but then when she's fat and ugly, you're not attracted to her anymore. And let's face it, it's all based on interest and attraction and everything else. And same thing with the guy. The guy can be, an attractive guy when he's young. He gets old and he gets bald and he gets fat, and nobody's attracted to him. So it works both ways. But that's kind of the U.S. dollar is now the fat, ugly guy, the bald guy that nobody wants. And that's where it is. That's exactly where the U.S. dollar's at. It's done. It's time to move on. And it's a lot like football, right? All of a sudden, Rising starts for Utah. They're a nothing team. They get Rising. You have to adapt to Rising. Look at Georgia Southern. All of a sudden, they're a nobody. They put up 48 points on Nebraska, and all of a sudden, they're, oh my God, look at them. And USC gets a new coach. So you adapt to the change, right? Now USC's Oklahoma. Okay. Well, that's the dollar, right? It's there, but now it's changed, and now gold is where you should be. You can't buy rubles or one, and rubles is what I would buy. I would trade my dollars for rubles, but I'd rather trade them for gold. But that's really what you've got to be able to adapt. And I'm telling you, as the professor, what you need to do. It's what I've done. I got 325 ounces of silver now. Why would I buy it? Because I don't want it in US dollars. I got 50 ounces of gold. Why? Because I don't want my money in dollars. As soon as I knew what Biden was doing, printing, I took all my money from the bank and bought gold. I just walked right over to the gold store, gave them cash, got the gold, walked out. I was very happy. You have to do that. It's protection. At worst case, you sell it back. Here's the ounce of gold. You get your money back. Okay, fine. The difference is it's going to go way up and you're going to make money. But again, it's not an investment, true, but getting to the real value is where you're going to make your money. And people will start, they're already out of their cars. They're going to be out of their houses. You're going to walk in with an ounce of gold and they're going to, hey, you can have this $120,000 Mercedes for this ounce of gold. Thank you. Because it won't be valued in dollars. It'll just be valued in what it can buy. And what it can buy is what somebody needs it. I need the ounce of gold because I can buy groceries and whatever, pay rent. It's like Matt Ryan once a Super Bowl contender is now washed up on a bad team. Oh, there you go. Exactly. Well, that's what happened. Brady's the lucky one. He didn't get washed up. Rodgers, I don't think is washed up, but it had, Peyton Manning and, along through the things, Michael Jordan had to retire, Magic Johnson, Bird. You move on, and then the next guy comes, and there's always the next guy. The next guy is not the U.S. dollar. It's going to be the ruble and the yuan, and it's going to be gold and silver. And theirs is going to be backed by gold and silver, which is going to make the demand for gold and silver go through the roof. believe me, it's like a point spread going from 7 to 14 because of the demand of the spread. It's going to drive it up, and that's what you have. One last thing I don't understand, and somebody needs to explain this. Kansas and Houston, the over starts at 62. I lock it at 62, and I'm happy to get it in before it goes to 70. And the next day it goes to 56. But yet they scored 85 points. I was exactly correct. It was 48-30. It was like a 78-point game. I hit it. I nail it at 62. Teased it to 56. Can somebody explain why it dropped 6 points? What caused it? There was no injuries. Alex lives in Houston. They did delay the game, but all right, that was it. What the fuck? Why did the line drop 6 points on the over-under for no reason? And then it finally climbed back up to 58, and they scored 80. So this is what I don't get. This is the manipulation part. Where are they doing math? Is that how they figure games out now? It's the math. And they're saying, wow, the Kansas, they're looking at Kansas last year, I guess, not this year. See, Kansas changed quarterbacks, as did Miami, as did Utah. And they're not the same weak team as they were before. So, again, I don't understand Miami yesterday, but Utah, nice 35-0 win or something. All games should go the way the Utah game went, just what they should have done. Anyway, that's what I got. So buy your gold and silver, please. It's being manipulated down because the U.S. doesn't want you. They want you to stay in U.S. dollars. They're going to make everybody broke and dependent on the government, but we like our freedom. We want to bet football, or we want to go to a dinner. We don't want to be blocked. And if you have gold and silver, they can't touch you because you got your money. You don't need the government. You don't want to be a slave. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. Buy the gold and silver basically gives you freedom. It allows you to buy nice things with the gold and silver once the shit hits the fan and the U.S. dollar is worthless. So anyway, that's what's coming up, those two announcements. They'll call them black swan events. They'll reprice gold at 20,000 an ounce. It'll eventually go to 50 to 100. Once everybody realizes they've been had, and I'm telling you now, so you know, but you're a small percentage of the world. Once the U.S. population knows they've been had, they will run the gold without caring what the price is, because you just want, I don't care what the price is. Oh, it's 1,800. I want the ounce. I'm buying ounces. So I don't care if I got to pay 1,800. I know it's a cheap price because I'm thinking 20 grand. Because once it hits 20 grand, how are you going to be able to afford it? Well, the one way is you're going to trade in 4 or 5 ounces of silver for the gold. It's what eventually silver will go way up, which will then, because that's being very much more suppressed than gold. So once silver hits their $3,000-$4,000 an ounce level, then you'll go, oh, okay, I got 3 ounces of silver to buy the ounce of gold. And that's how you're going to do it with silver. But you won't have dollars to buy it. 20,000, you got 20,000 sitting around to buy an ounce of gold? No. That's why I hurry and buy it now while it's still available and it's only at 1,800. Once it's at 20, it's gonna, good luck buying it. Maybe you buy a quarter ounce for $5,000. Now it's 500 for a quarter ounce. All right, that's class for today. Your homework again is the what game was that? Oregon, Washington State. I want scores. That's your homework. All right, everybody. Good luck today. I hope you win. Next week, I'll probably start having some locks in the pros. Studying college now. College is pretty easy for me. I've got the teams pretty much sorted. I know the Z's, like Kansas, I've adjusted for them to be over. Georgia's Georgia. They are the best team by a mile in college. Alabama has no chance against Georgia, not the way they looked against Texas. Baylor, I don't know. They lost to BYU. Washington, Oregon, they lost to Georgia 49-3, so I don't want to hear they're good. USC, we'll see against Utah and UCLA how good they are. Again, that was Fresno State this week. I think they got Oregon State. This will be a good test for them too. All right, everybody. Good luck today. Have a great day. www.teaserking.com. If you want to get my picks, go ahead. If you want to email me with some thoughts or ideas or do a 5-team teaser, I charge 20%, so you don't have to pay me anything. If it wins, then you give me 20%. And if it doesn't win, you don't give me anything and you get my 5 picks. So that's me and Alex do that, and off we go. He won last week. He paid me, so we did some more this week. We got BYU'd. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Good luck. www.teaserking.com. This is the professor.